Hello. When I started reading about the TED videos, I was going through them and I found one by a man named P.W. Singer, and his speech was about military robots and the future of war. When I read that subject line, I automatically thought of the Terminator. Skynet taking over the human race and going to war with them. Well, he started this speech with a story. He talked about IEDs, which are bombs, and the teams that defuse them, which are called EODs. He says a typical EOD unit will defuse about 600 bombs a year, and defusing 2 bombs a day on average. And he says to show you how important these EOD teams are to the war, Iraqi insurgents have a $50,000 bounty on each soldier on an EOD team. And then he started talking about IEDs. And depending on how big they are and how powerful they are, they can kill you, they can dismember you, and they can even break a limb when you're not even around the blast, up to 50 yards away. And he talked about a soldier, EOD soldier, that was right above the IED when it exploded. And when the rest of the team came to the blast, that there was no sign of that soldier. Then he talked about how the commander later that night had to, his duty is write the letter back home. And in this letter, he was talking about how down his team was after losing a great soldier. The soldier was brave. The soldier has saved the other soldiers' lives many a times. Then he said the silver lining is, he said, when the best part about when a robot dies, he doesn't have to write a letter back home to another soldier's mom. And that letter that he was sending was back home to the creator of this robot that was above this bomb when it exploded. It was a 45-pound robot that exploded, and it's that robot took the blast instead of another soldier, and that story started the whole presentation. It got your attention, and what the speaker maintained the engagement of the audience throughout the speech was he had pictures, a slideshow of different robots and what they did in the war to help his story along. With the Ten Commandments, he started with a story. So he told a story. He told a story what the robots do in war today. And he further talked about it could be a good thing and a bad thing. The U.S. has more robots in war today than any other country. But he said also, you can have more robots in the beginning, but it depends on how you use them. Another country like, let's say, Russia could come along and have a better robot, know how to use it better than the U.S., and that one robot could be really damaging. I would give Mr. Singer a 4 out of 5 for his speech. I did notice he looked down at his notes, which most people do, but he did keep you involved in his speech. He knew what he was talking about, and he kept on going with what he talked about because he cared about what he talked about. And the pictures helped with his story because you can see what he's talking about. Because if he just talked about robots and war, I would have kept thinking of Terminator robots. and that's not the case. It's like little tractor robots, little tiny robots that go in, and he showed pictures of them. So it helped with telling his story. Um, the thing I've learned about the delivery, based upon watching the presenter, was that using pictures in your speech, if you can, is the best way to help you have a good speech. They bring out the speech. They get people involved. They keeps people interested in your speeches. Um, the main thing I found from watching Mr. Sir Robinson and Mr. Singer was that Mr. Sir Robinson had more comedy in his speech. Um, it felt almost like a comedy show. There's so many people laughing and everything like that. Mr. Singer had a couple funny moments in his speech. Talking about the robots in war. It's not going to be like the Terminator. You're not going to expect the former governor of California to step at your doorstep and come with me if you want to live, kind of thing. Um, but Mr. Robinson had more. He had more humor in his speech, um, which it depends on each person, how they like their speeches. But Mr. Singer's speech was really good. I've watched it a couple times already. Um, and the tips I can give a classmate on delivering their upcoming speeches is really to use pictures like he did. Because with some people on his subject, it could come to be really slow or not interesting without the pictures in the slideshow, and he had graphs and talking about how many robots are in each war and everything like that. So pictures, I feel, could be a really good thing. Um, and I really enjoyed the video that he had. So, yes, thank you.